All righty, here we go. January 28th. Time for another water cooler Wednesday. Got a lot to cover for you today. In a nutshell, I want to talk about some things that are going to address more of the people in the note business versus ones who are looking to get into the business. The ones looking to get in the business, you'll pick up a lot on this. But, we always talk in terms of how do you take your business to the next level? And nobody really lays out some of the skills that you need to do that. So I've got a couple of skills for sure that you want to incorporate within that. But I'm joined by, as always, by Dwayne Gibbs. Dwayne, what's up, bud?
Hey, good morning.
Next level stuff, right? I mean, how many people always, they get stuck. They go, "What do we do?" And there's not a whole lot of training on how to do that. It's all kind of mixed in there, and I think people kind of lose thoughts on that. How do we do that? What are some of the other
Not a
skills that we need
playbook
to
on it.
develop? What's that?
So there's not a playbook on it.
Yeah, yeah. So I've got some real strong suggestions. Certainly not all the answers in the time that we have, but I got some really strong suggestions for people on that because we're busy and busy, and it's easy for me to take people up. And we have an elite program where I work directly with people, and it's easy for me to elevate them to however many deals they want to do because I've got the skill sets to do that. In fact, we got 9 deals for January. 6 are closed. One we wire the money today, and the other 2 are under contract, so they won't close until February. So we're headed towards what could be another record year.
Big month.
Did just over 1 million with people in that program last year, or just under, I should say, 1 million. And this year so far, just in January, um, we did total closed right as of today, 144,000 invested, backed by 340,000 in property. Once we get these other 2 deals that are under contract done, we'll have $200,000 invested, backed by $464,000 in property. And so that's a pretty darn good start to the year. And the other thing too is that means I'll be invested at least 10% of that. So I'll be in at least $20,000 already invested with people this year, and nobody else is doing that. But that's one of the ways that I personally take people up to the next level, just to work with them and just kind of pull them along as I work together with them. But there's a lot of people who choose to do that on their own and look at, well, what other skill sets do I need to do? And you know uh, one of the things that oh, you know what? Before I even mention that, sorry, I just had a little note there. Many of you who are in the note business already might know Dickie Baldwin, and just want to mention Dickie Baldwin. He's one of the good guys in the business. He's been around, I don't know, 15, 20 years, and Dwayne and I know him well. He's back in the hospital, and he's going to be having another operation, if not today, tomorrow.
Terrible.
So any thoughts and prayers that
Prayers
anybody
are out
might
with him
have
for
for
sure.
him would be, I'm sure, appreciated by them. I spoke with his wife a couple days ago as well, and she emailed me yesterday. So
Hmm.
we hope that he recovers well from that. I spoke with him in the hospital briefly a couple days ago, and he's optimistic as he has been.
Always
So
is.
yeah.
He always is, right?
So if you're not familiar with Baldwin, it's Baldwin Advisory Group, and we use them predominantly for BPOs and title work, but he does a lot of other different things and properties, door knocking services, and all kinds of stuff like that as well. So just wanted to make sure I mentioned that also. And that's helpful stuff too. You need to really, in my opinion, know how to basically do essentially your own title report. That's a part of due diligence, but there's a lot of times where you can just say, you know what, this note's been traded a lot. I think I've got everything. But when I'm working with clients, especially, it's nice to have that extra set of eyes on there from a title company just to look into stuff. If I'm suspect that something might be there. So most all the time we get those title reports done. So appreciate that. So next level stuff, one of the things that dawned on me, that I don't think people really mention, including myself over the years, is, is to know how to write your own contracts. I
Mm.
think for somebody who wants to, if they're already doing the business and they want to expand the business, knowing how to write your own contracts really can do that. And it dawned on me because out of these 9 deals that we're working on, the last 6 of those that we closed, those were all deals where I wrote all the contracts. And without knowing that skill set, how would somebody do that? That's the thing. Now, you can pay a title company, you can pay an attorney, you can do all those sorts of things, but part of the concept of writing your own contracts, not practicing law, everybody. These are fill in the blank type of contracts that you can get. You can download the templates. It's a very simple thing to do. But I think writing the contracts, you actually learn more when you write your own contracts versus outsourcing it. When you outsource it all the time, you don't know anything about the contracts. You don't really know the intricacies that are in there. But when you have to write it down, when you have to get everything so detailed, the legal descriptions have to be accurate, the addresses, the numbers, I mean, everything just has to be correct. I think that is really something that will help people get to that next level. It's just
Mm.
I remember in old days when I used to do a lot of more traditional real estate, I wasn't afraid to write a contract on the hood of a car and make an offer on a property,
Mm-hmm.
and it's an important skill set to have. I remember being at a closing one time, and even attorney, we were at a closing, and the attorney wasn't even in there yet, but we had the paperwork, so just went ahead and signed it, understood everything that was in there because I've written contracts, before. And even the attorney pointed out, he goes, you're a little fearless to sign contracts. It must mean you know what you're doing, and that's a good skill set to have. And it just dawned on me the other day, but. Um, Reading through them is one thing, but when you actually have to complete them, I think that makes it sink in your brain a little bit more. I mean, part of
Yeah.
what you talk about, Dwayne, with people, I'm sure, is writing down your goals and how it's so important to put that stuff down in paper. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's no different than I don't know. I'm old school, always get yelled at being old school with pad and paper.
Yeah.
It just seems like it resonates better with me. I know I have files and
I can't really
files
see
of.
mine, but yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. I get it. Type in your notes in and all, but my fingers don't go as fast as my brain does. But I
Mhm.
can understand my own chicken scratch on a piece of paper. So definitely resonates more. Writing goals. Uh, this doesn't have anything to do with it, but I tell you what's been a game changer for me to get stuff off my head has been journaling. I've
Yeah.
been journaling for over a year, and I know it has nothing to do with this, but it has all to do with understanding things better and what resonates more. And so it ties back into what you're saying of being able to do it versus have somebody else do it. And now you set yourself apart and understand what kind of skill, kind of craft you're in that you just, you master it more.
Yeah, it makes you stronger reading contracts that you don't create yourself,
Sure.
that somebody else does. It just makes you stronger because you know where all the ingredients are. And that's another thing because let me tell you something, when you're writing your own contracts, especially we closed 5 deals in one day from the same seller, so I wanted to get them all done. I wanted to get them closed before the end of
That's a lot of
January.
work.
And you got 5 different properties, all with different legal descriptions, with different borrowers. Everything's different, right?
Mm.
Except for who the seller is. The buyers were different because I was partnering with different people. I mean, you really got to have your stuff together. And I'm just telling you, you're going to make some mistakes. So I know when I sent these contracts, I told the seller, I said, just please go over everything and make sure that everything is accurate in there. And everything was the unpaid balance was a little bit off on I think 4 out of the 5, but I mean that's pretty common because the UPB unpaid balance technically changes on a daily
Always
basis,
paid.
everybody. So that's one of those things that is just
Yeah.
going to be a change. But having all that stuff in there, it just makes you a stronger investor. It really does. You really start to know the business. For example, even on my online courses, for both my elite level as well as my consulting level, and even just the education level that I have. The first series that I have, and nobody else approaches the business this way, is understanding what these contracts are. What's the difference between a deed, and a deed of trust and a mortgage and a note and a land contract and the different estates and the different types of ownership. I mean, basically, I'm showing you how to get a real estate license. It's that detail about knowing the intricacies. And I'll tell you right now, most real estate agents don't know it, even though they have a license, and most note investors don't know that sort of stuff. But it's so important because every single deal that you do, performing, non-performing, sub-performing, everything in between, it deals with that paperwork. That's what we're buying, is the contract on these things. So again, understanding it, but writing your own, I'm telling you, if you want to take things to the next level, that's going to be a game changer for you. So I encourage you to do that. Now, you can buy contracts, as I said, that are fill in the blank sort of contracts. You can get them state and county specific, very easy thing to do. And I'll tell you what, using AI more and more, you can actually have AI create your contracts. But you have to prompt them properly, which means you have to know the ingredients in the soup, give that to AI so it can then prepare that for you. If you don't know all the ingredients, if you don't have them done properly, your contract's not going to be complete. You're going to be missing some areas there. So you still have to have the knowledge base of doing that. So I would suggest, starting with the fill in the blank contracts, once you understand what the ingredients are for the various documents, then you can start to build your prompts and everything else where you can have AI generate a state specific contract for you. And that's another great way to do that. And I did definitely use AI on several of those deals that I was doing because again, know what needs to go in there. And one of the things with fill in the blanks that you'll run into is missing data that's supposed to go in there when it's further down the contract. Like page one has a lot of data and everybody can put stuff in page one. But when you get down to page five, where all it had was a date or it had a number or something like that, you forgot to change. You didn't have that in there because you didn't have it highlighted. You didn't know where to go and that sort of stuff. But
You know,
yeah,
when we were out on the road training, we would all, and I'm sure you can contest to this, that a lot of people would say, "Oh, I'm not worried about the contract and this, that, and the other. I just really need to make money in the business." And I said,
yeah,
"How about losing money?" "Well, I don't want to
yeah,
lose money." I said, "That's why you got to understand the contracts. I
yeah,
mean, you really got to get involved with that." And there are some people that, as you know, feel like they know the contract, but they've never done one. So
yeah.
big difference between knowing something and really being able to do it. So I know what you've been going through in the past couple of days. It's a lot of work.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, it makes you sharper on the reading side. And I think on this show, or at least on this show, or on the Wednesday night membership only sessions that we do, um, we've found contracts that have things we would not accept. You remember the guy who said that he can assign his position as a borrower to anybody else without the permission of the lender? It's like, that's not going to fly. I would never accept a contract like that. Well, why would I see that? Because I read the contracts and I know where to look in the contract. It's very difficult to read a 15, even a 10 or a 6-page legal contract. That's very difficult for people because it's almost a different type of tempo, a different type of language that's built in there when you're under the legalese. But if you know where to look for the various paragraphs because you know the ingredients of the contract, it makes it much easier, and those things stand out to you. Another one that I caught was the guy who was trying to. He had one company that was buying land, selling it to another company at a higher markup price, and then you're buying the note from this guy, and he's actually the borrower.
I remember that.
Yeah, it's like what? So
Low bait and
again,
switch.
it makes you smarter, everybody. It makes you a better investor, and it will definitely help you do more deals because You're not always going to have a platform. You don't always want to pay attorneys. You talk about yeah, you want to make money. We want to do this. Paying attorneys to do these contracts will cost you a lot of money, and it's going to affect your bottom line. There's no question. So practice on those. I use, for example, I go to deeds.com a lot. If you're looking for state specific, and I refer my clients over to that as well. So that's part one. The other part is, and I know we've mentioned this before, but I want to put it in this proper context here too. Looking to take your business to the next level is going to require networking. It's just a natural progression. Otherwise, you're stuck with just the deals that other people are looking at on various platforms. Now, look, I like trading platforms. I like getting tapes, from other note sellers, that sort of thing. But you also have to realize there's a lot of other eyeballs on those same deals. And especially on the tapes where you have to bid and there's a bidding process, you're kind of restricted to, am I going to win the bid? And sometimes you cut corners on the bids where you pay more because you're thinking, oh, if I don't bid that, then somebody else will. So I guess I just have to take a lower yield. You kind of get cornered sometimes on those sorts of things. And in the trading platform, sometimes if you don't move fast enough, deals
Oh,
that you thought you might have are gone. So being able to develop your own relationships where people come to you first becomes a big deal.
mm.
And I've got a case study here. I'm gonna, build this whole thing in together. That'll everything we've talked about. I want to show you in one deal where all these great ingredients come together. But this deal is from a guy in Arizona, Dave. You know Dave, of course.
Hmm.
We've known him for over 15 years. Got him started in the business. He's done very well, and he will always come to me first on his deals. Why? Because he knows that if they're done the right way, which I've worked with him and trained him on doing it the right way, he's got all the paperwork done properly. We'll buy them and we'll pay good money for them because they're absolutely done right. And that's important. That can be several deals a year, right there. Um, we have a deal with him right now. It's under contract. We haven't closed on it yet. It's not even, he just, well, I'll explain it to you, but it's not even boarded with a servicing company or anything just yet for us, but he's doing that for us. But we've got an understanding. We're signing the contracts and everything. We'll have it under purchase and sale, but he came to me first. The other 5 deals that we closed on one day all came from networking. So out of the 9 deals that we've done and are doing so far this year, um, the new closings, we had some carryovers from last year, but the new 9 ones,
Five
was
of
it
them, huh?
six of them,
Six.
7, sorry, 7 out of the 9 were all from referral.
Relationship building.
2 of them were old students, and one of them it was through which is still networking, and one of them was through a newer relationship that I formed on that. So it's a pretty strong argument, when you get 9 deals and 7 of them are from networking, and you're going, how do I take my business to the next level? It's pretty glaringly obvious that that becomes a big part of what you're going to do. Versus relying upon the recognized sellers and the recognized trading platforms that are out
Mm.
in the industry. So uh, let me shift gears here and show you.
Do you have more deals closing this month by end of the month, you think?
Well, I've got this one and one other one that
So
will
you
be
may wind up at
closing.
11, huh?
I won't get them done. These 2 I won't get done probably before the end of January, so they'll carry over into February.
Gotcha.
Um, because we're running out of month, right? 27th
Yeah.
today, 28th. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and sometimes, you're still, I don't want to cut corners and, I'm never in a hurry to close a deal before an end of the month, by the way, because there's a couple of different dates in this industry. There's a cutoff date and there's a closing date, if you will. Those can be 2 different things. So the cutoff date is the last date in which the current note owner, the note seller, can collect any payments. Okay. So we could have a cutoff date of January 20th, and that's the last time that the current note owner can receive a payment, but we may not be able to close it because we're waiting on a BPO or waiting on title or something like that. We may not be able to close it until February. Well, we're still going to get that February payment because that was included in our purchase sale agreement. It's just we weren't able to close it until after that payment was already made. So that payment will circle around and come back to us. So that's why, you don't want to push it just to get it done by end of calendar month. There's no need to still close it the right way. You're still going to be entitled to that payment. You might have to wait until the servicing company reissues it or one servicing company pays another, but it's all good. So we got those under contract, but not able to quite close just yet. So this is one that we'll close on, and it's vacant land again, which it just happens to be vacant land. So these other two deals were all single family homes, which I favor. But when you see good land deals, which I know we talked about last Wednesday, the difference between what I consider good land deals and bad land deals. But this is another one out in Arizona, and it's in this town, Tonopah, which we also own other lots. Sorry, we own the notes on other lots out there. And the reason is in red here. So as you're looking at this over on this side where my arrow is to your right, I think when you're looking on this screen is Phoenix, right? So the city of Phoenix kind of ends just to the right. And just outside of town here on Highway 10, you've got this big tract of land here that Bill Gates bought, and he is putting in a smart city. So hundreds of thousands of people are going to be moving out to this city, and so you can imagine the plans are out. It's people who know who it is. They even have the name for the city, which is, oh, that keeps popping over, City of Belmont, that Gates is building out there. And these lots are down here. Well, why are these lots then different from being land out in the middle of nowhere? Because the smart city is coming. So land developers are already coming in this area. Homeowners are coming in this area, and they're taking this patch of green land here, agricultural land. They're starting to buy up the dirt and buy up some of the agricultural land here. They're building solar farms, like 5,000 different solar farms going out here as a part of the smart city, that sort of thing. So there's a lot of growth, a lot of activity going on in those areas. That's the kind of stuff that I like. There's a good, compelling reason on why this land is a good value, and does it have a resellability? In other words, if something went bad on this loan and I had to take it back, I'm not stuck with land out in the middle of nowhere. I'm stuck with land where development is coming, where people understand that, where commercial space is starting to be bought up along the highway here, everything else, land developers on the south side of I-10, on the north side where we are of I-10, and it'll have a good resale value. So I wouldn't be afraid of taking that land back if something happened on the payments. So even in the description here from the real estate agent who sold this property, you can see right in their notes, which I took a screenshot of, within a few miles of Bill Gates' planned city of Belmont. So it's pretty well documented out there of what's going on. And the other thing about this one too, which is kind of an interesting lot, is we already own notes on lot 1 and 2 and 3.
Mm.
Lots 1 and 2 came as a package, and then we also have a loan on lot 3, lot 10, lot 11, and lot 12. So we've got a number of them out in this area. So why do we have so many from this area? Well, because of networking. Dave is out in Arizona. Dave knows what's going on out there. Dave's a smart guy. He goes out, he buys property, he turns around and sells it with financing to people who want to build homes, own land, et cetera, et cetera. He creates a note, and then he sells the note to us to recapitalize to buy another one. Pretty smart little
Good
business
model.
play,
Good model.
right?
Good
Yeah.
model.
And we talked about it and what he wanted to do when we first started doing this last year with him. And it's like, how much is the discount going to be? What should I create? What should the interest rate be? How much should I take down? All those sorts of things became a part of the conversation. And I essentially said, look, if you create them this way, then we can even pay par or close to par on every deal that you do. And, a part of that is I want him to bring the deals to us too, so there's a little give and take on both sides here. So he goes out, he finds the land for sale, he buys it up, turns around, he's got a good marketing campaign, sells them, and goes through the whole process here. I don't know if I've got names and stuff on here. I don't think so. Um, he goes through the whole process on there. And you can see I've got all the paperwork. I went through that in case there were names on there if I didn't delete or something. But he gets 30% down. That's
You're
important.
on.
So this lot, for example, he sold for 30 grand and he got $9,000 down. That's great. That's skin in the game, number one. Number
Hmm.
two, it immediately lowers our investment to value ratio to 70%. And if anybody's watching and listening this, if you've been following me for any point of time, you know that 70% is an important number when it comes to investment to value ratio. I never want to be in anything higher than that. Are there other investors? Are there other people who teach this business that go higher than that? Yeah, I think it's nuts. And there's a reason why I've been around for over 30 years, and some of the other ones have not. Um, it's a safety mechanism. So Dave knows that going in and says, well, if I need to get 30% down, I shall get 30% down. Otherwise, I won't sell it to this person because they're not qualified under our guidelines. Perfect, you know. But he's able to do that. So they created a note for $21,000. Now, these are not meant for long-term financing. This is vacant land. And the idea is for them to start to develop that land. That might be that they fence it up, put a mobile home on there, manufactured home on there, or even a single family home. Some kind of improvement. And one of the other benefits, of course, is he goes out to that area. So he takes pictures on lot 10, 11, 12, lots 2 and 3, and he shows us what's going on. And man, I was impressed. They were bringing out rock. They had big storage, the truck storage tanks on there. I think I may have shown you some of those pictures in the past, Dwayne. But they're improving it. They're putting fencing up, so all of these lots are people are taking action on them. They're not just sitting there. And several of the guys are work for the same company, the same solar company that's putting 5,000 of these solar things out there. So good paying jobs, and they all want a presence in that area. So it's going great. So this is meant to be a short-term loan, $21,000 seller finance deal, and this is what Dave created with a 4-year balloon. Whoops. Okay, with a 4-year balloon. So 12% interest rate. Payments still with the 12% interest rate are still only $229 a month.
Hmm.
Borrower pays for taxes, insurance, and of course, servicing, which is another thing I like. So you can see he's hitting all the high notes here. He's
That's
covered
awesome.
investment to value ratio. He's made short-term loans with quicker paybacks, which raises the present value. He's already creating them at 12% interest, and he's having the borrowers pay for the servicing fee. Servicing fees run a minimum of $15 a month. If it's escrowed like this is, taxes and insurance, it's $30 a month. That's more than 10% of 229 a month, everybody. That's a significant number. That would hurt this deal if he didn't add the servicing in. And that's one of the things we talked about when he's creating these. I said, get them to pay the servicing. Otherwise, I got to look at my after servicing return on investment, and I can't pay you
That's
par.
right.
Okay. So that's what we're looking at here. So you would invest 21,000, you're getting back 229 a month for 48 months, and then you get a payoff of $19,834. That's the balloon in this instance. I know the background of the borrower because all the paperwork is there. Dave showed me the paperwork from when he bought the property, the type of deed that he got on the property. When he sold this property to this person, he did go through a title company. They did look at his credit. They did approve, they went through an approval process with this borrower. That's why they know the story, what this guy does for a living, how much money does he make, does he have social security numbers, all these sorts of things. They get all that information. So it's all done properly. Title work, all done perfectly. Now, when we go to buy this from Dave, which we're doing right now, Dave is also, as an added value to us, he is putting together all of the paperwork. Well, what's the paperwork that we're talking about here? There's got to be an assignment. Okay, so he's putting that together himself. We're not paying extra for a title company to do that. He's putting the allons together himself.
Hmm.
Don't need a title company to do that and pay for that. It's not something, and he's also taken the burden off of me from creating the paperwork because it does take a little effort, as we've established. Worth it, but it takes some effort. So as a part of this, where we're not taking a discount on this deal, he's added some value in there. We're not paying for servicing, we're not paying for paperwork. We have zero closing costs, everybody. And that's another thing. When you do your own paperwork, there is no closing cost. Dave's not charging us money to put the paperwork together. Uh, there is no closing cost. It's as simple as that. Now, once we get the assignment and I record that, I'll have a recording fee, to pay. That'll be something very, very nominal, but that's it. There's no extra additional cost on that. So again, this one example just shows you all these concepts that I talked about there. The deal resulted from networking. Talk to the person about creating these the right way, had a business model put together, do it like this, we'll pay that. That's exactly what we've done. Create it the right way. He didn't do all the paperwork in buying the property. He had that done properly, had it underwritten properly, and that's important. That adds value to the note. Showed all the documentation, the HUD settlement statement, all those sorts of things, so I could look through it. Everything is great. And then he's doing the paperwork himself, drawing up the contracts for the assignment and the allonge, which I'll simply review. He'll sign them. We'll wire the money. He's already boarding this loan with a servicing company. So he's saving us boarding fees as well. He's paying $150 to board this loan with the company we're familiar with. So it'll be boarded. All we have to do is then just contact the servicing company, show them we bought this, they transfer it over, we start receiving the payments. So he's made it seamless, made it inexpensive. And again, just having the ability for him to write the contracts, for me to know how to review them, it just makes the deals go that much quicker. So we can have this deal closed. If he sends the paperwork to me today, we'll have all the contracts and everything signed today, and we could be wiring the money by Friday on this one. Just
Wow,
done. Yeah,
that's awesome.
yeah. So good stuff. And we're talking a couple of experienced guys here, and again, so you people looking to do the next level, a couple ways to do it. You got to gear up, start learning, start writing your own contracts, start getting out there networking. If you want to simplify that, join us our elite program. Quite frankly, and you've got all those benefits with me. Why? Because I partner in on these deals. So this deal is going to go to one of my elite members, okay, who I have a call with after this to do final review with her, and I'll be putting in money on this deal as well. So I brought the whole thing to her, explained the whole thing, lay it all out. I put money in, she puts money in, so I'm putting my skin in the game on this deal as
She didn't
well.
have to go out and look at any property, get with contractors, nothing.
Nothing, no,
Nice.
nothing. So all of those benefits, and that's another way to do it. And that's why we put that program together, everybody. That will take you to that next level. So if you're interested in learning more about that program and what we do, just reach out to us. The best way to do that's to contact Dwayne, but you can get his Calendly link just by going to kevinshortell.com and scroll down. You'll find that for the various services that we offer and just click on the link. It'll be his Calendly link, and it'll go right on your calendar, right on his calendar, get together and talk and see if it's the right thing for you to do or not. But I can show you, very easily, we're getting results, everybody,
No
because of
question.
all these concepts that we talk about. So it's, we've taken what works in any investment arena and applied those concepts to the note business and put them into action. And that's why it's getting results. Sorry, Dwayne, I cut you off.
No, no, I'm just saying that that's exactly it. I mean, it helps being able to talk it through. I know that sometimes I have calls with students and they're like, well, explain that to me. What's it mean how we can partner up and what's that look like? And so it helps having a conversation to talk it through. It doesn't cost you anything, obviously, to talk to someone. So kind of build I kind of explain to everybody, I kind of give you a 50,000 foot view of what you do, and then you have a meeting with them and work on a granular level, and next thing you know, you're closing on deals. So it's really a simple process,
Yeah,
uh, very
but sure.
effective, and it's simple.
And, I could see where there's going to be questions like, well, wait a minute, if Kevin partners, doesn't that cut into our yield? No, it doesn't.
Right.
Your yield stays the same. So if we're making 12% on that, I'm putting in 10% of the money or 20% of the money, you're putting in 90% or 80%. So you get 80 or 90% of the payment. I get 10 or 20% of the payment. I pay 10 or 20% of the servicing fee. So it's right across the board. But something goes wrong on this, guess what? I'm your
That's right.
partner in this deal, so
Yeah.
we'll get it handled and all of that comes with it. So it's really been a great program, very successful. So hope you all enjoyed that. Again, those are important concepts for you to do. And again, for those of you who are beginners, just keep that in mind, as you start to think of your education, you're just one more step ahead of getting to where you want to go within the industry. So thanks again, everybody, for tuning in, and we'll
Good
have another
episode.
one for you next week as well. Let's see, I've got a couple of things. If you're over in the Lakeland area, I'm going to be coming to you at the Polk County RIA. I'm going to be speaking there next month, trying to find the date. I believe it's on the 6th of February. Okay, there we go. Got to go to the right month here, Kev. Yeah, on the 6th of February, I'll be speaking at the Polk County RIA. I'll be doing a live event there, so that'll be sometime in the evening. So you can check out that PC RIA event. And if you have clubs in your area that you would like myself or Dwayne to come out to, just let us know that as well. Just shoot an email, Kevin@kevinshortell.com. Let us know. And we can do that live or by way of Zoom as well, because I think I'll be
Yes.
going out to Arizona at some point too. Dwayne's going to be at a big event in Nashville, I believe.
Nashville,
And when is that? May or March?
May
May.
1st and 2nd. Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good. I'll be in Atlanta sometime in end of April. So a lot going on, everybody. So reach out, Kevin@kevinshortell.com, or go to kevinshortell.com and find the dates or the schedules. Give us a call. All
Sounds
right,
great.
everybody. Thank you so much. And we look forward to talking to you again real soon.
See ya.